Duel.
Ha! Great! Hey yo, what the fuck? Later, bitch.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
So Arc 5 releases in just under 2 weeks now, and we've received multiple leaks as to what characters and cards we should be expecting, which by the way I've covered and I'll leave a little link to those videos up there. And within those leaks we've received news of the arrival of Zuzu Boyle. Now Zuzu Boyle has been confirmed to bring a wide variety of supporting cards for her ace art type, Melodious, which should have gotten a few of you quite excited, but I'm sure most of you thought, what the fuck is a Melodious? Because of course, unless you're a TCG player or you're a Duel Links boomer like myself, this art type is probably completely unknown to you, despite actually being in the game for over 1.5 years now. So I thought, screw it. I've got absolutely nothing better to do, so let me show you how a Melodious deck runs right before the new support is released. So here's the deck list. Now just before I go through it, just a reminder that if you're enjoying any of the content you're watching or find any of it useful, to please leave a like on the video down below and consider subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. I'm ridiculously close to 50k now, so I'd really appreciate the support, especially if you've seen multiple of my videos now and still haven't subbed. Come on guys, do me a solid. Alright, so just to let you guys know right off the bat before you get too hyped about the list, this art type is definitely a little outdated now, and to be fair, it wasn't even that good on its release, so don't be expecting some top tier meta breaker right now. Maybe wait and see what Zuzu brings in terms of skills and cards before we start looking at tier lists. The whole purpose of this video is just to show you guys how the deck functions at the moment, which, don't get me wrong, is still very playable, as you can see by the 7 wins and 3 losses I got whilst trialing the deck, but obviously it's not some top tier meta contender. Okay, so the deck's entire goal at the moment is to summon one fusion monster. Shoebox the Melodious Maestra. There's also one other fusion monster in the deck, but I'm be honest here, I've never summoned her, and I've yet to really see much of a point in doing so. She does give you a double attack, but I don't know, I'm pretty sure you can just ignore her existence for the most part. Anyway, back to Shoebox. During either player's turn, you can target up to 3 cards in any graveyard and banish them, and if you do, this card gains 200 attack for each. This effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. So basically this card is a 3000 attack monster whenever you want it to be, and has the added bonus of being able to remove any annoying graveyard cards, which actually has quite a lot of uses that you may not really realise. For example, it can banish stones before they summon Blue Eyes, it can banish Wild Wind before it searches, it can banish light and dark monsters from your opponent's graveyard to cut Clavier. It can banish monsters attempting to be special summoned, like if Onomats try to summon Head, or if Gaia try to use Magical Knight. Speaking of Gaia, it can also screw over Dragon's Mirror, since it won't actually have any materials in the graveyard. You'll find there's just a ton of uses for this effect, on top of just gaining a bunch of attack. To summon our Shoebox, we're going to be using Soprano. When special summoned, you can target one Melodious monster in the grave and add it to hand. Once per turn, you can fusion summon one Melodious monster from the extra deck by using monsters you control as fusion material, including this card. This card plus any other Melodious on the board will make Shoebox. We then have 3 other monsters. Canon can be special summoned if you control a Melodious monster, and that's all we really care about, as the rest of the effect is basically just irrelevant. Sonata can also be special summoned if you control a Melodious monster, and when special summoned, all fairy type monsters gain 500 attack and defense, whilst it's face up on the field. Solo can be special summoned if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a monster. This is why I'm only running it at 2, since going first it doesn't really combo with Soprano to get the 2 materials on board required for the fusion summon. When it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon one Melodious monster from your deck except itself. The deck then has one final card you might not recognise. First Movement Solo. If you control no monsters, special summon one level 4 lower Melodious monster from your hand or deck. But you cannot special summon monsters during your turn except Melodious monsters, so no random Xyz summoning. Basically this card just makes it easier to get a hold of Soprano for fusion summoning, as well as proccing her recycling effect, or just special summoning Sonata for her attack buff. Alright guys, that'll be it for the deck profile portion of the video, as you'll probably recognise all the other cards in here. The rest of the video will be gameplay with commentary showcasing all the combos in action. Remember, if you're enjoying any of the content you're watching or wish to see more, to please drop a like on the video down below and consider subscribing whilst you're down there. Enjoy the gameplay. Alright, so let's get into it. So as you can see, this deck on King of Games ladder went 7 wins and 3 losses. Now, take this with a grain of salt, as King of Games is... I don't know, there's some questionable things in here. A lot of these were playing like meta-ish decks, but there's also people playing things like this, as you'll see in one of the gameplays, which is kind of like, I don't really know what's going on there. They did beat a lot of meta-ish decks, like people playing Harpies and whatnot. But yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It's in King of Games and it's kind of late season, so it's not some absolute meta breaker. But anyway, let's get into the replays. Alright, so first one I believe was the Harpy player. I was actually quite surprised at how well this deck did, considering it's pretty outdated nowadays, and it basically only has one strat. You summon big fusion monster, not even that big, and you just beat your opponent to death. So it's basically like an only going second deck. I don't know, it's pretty rough. Thankfully we drew an absolutely amazing hand versus this matchup. Our opponent is all back row reliant, and we've got double MST. Also thankfully went second because we only got one Melodious monster in hand. Kinda need two. Speaking of god hands, Jesus. Anyway, so I activate MST, chain another MST, and I do something pretty dumb. I didn't activate Book of Moon. You shouldn't do this, you should wait till these two resolve, as if he had a Forbidden Lance here, he just Forbidden Lance his monster now, which is pretty dumb. I could have just waited till this went off, his Forbidden Lances will go to the grave, unless he chooses to activate it preemptively just in case I have a book, but you get the picture. I should just MST'd his two back row, then activate my book afterwards. Thankfully he didn't have one though, so it didn't really matter. To be fair, none of his back row was even usable anyway. Double fucking Solar's Nest. Now of course we summon our Soprano, special summon our Sonata, which then we can use this dude's effect to summon out our shoebox. Treacherous Trap Hole, destroying both monsters. Before he does so, we're going to banish his monsters, or his spell cards, because I know these cards can be infinitely recycled thanks to that one Harpy, so we're going to get rid of them real quick. Alright. Now even if we didn't draw our movement solo, as you can see, we can special summon this card from deck, activate its effect, it adds back one of the cards from grave. I mean, special summon both monsters, but even if we didn't, this card is just a one card fusion summon as a good top deck. Hence why running Destiny Draw in this deck is pretty good, because even if your board is completely wiped and they do just enough damage to you to proc Destiny Draw, you can search for Solo can special summon out this dude, bring back a card from grave, and you have enough for your boss monster. If you guys are wondering why I chose Destiny Draw for the deck. Also because there's like no other good skills anyway. But that's all about to change, thank you Zuzu. Hopefully. If the new world comes out, they give us like no skills for like any of the Melodious or Super Heavy Samurai decks, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Or even your Senju, but I think your Senju's the one that needs it the least, considering how strong that deck is. Nah. Terrible opening hand. We got neither our fusion creating monster or the solo to bring her out of the deck, so we're just gonna set our Songstress and hope our opponent destroys it via battle, which is not a very solid plan to go off of, but we haven't exactly got much else. I could have put it face up so Super Team could special summon it or whatever, but yeah, we haven't got much of a plan right now. So opponent's gonna summon Cavalry. Cavalry swing in, destroy a monster. We're gonna special summon our Grill from the deck. She's gonna add back the monster from hand. It's a pretty cool little combo. This dude gonna add back the card that literally just special summoned her. Pretty good. We're gonna use this card. Literally no reason to use this card. He's gonna negate it, but I didn't care. It's just might as well just use it now. Get the disappointment out of the way. Destiny draw thanks to the piercing damage. Songstress. Maestra. This card only negates cards on field, so we can still remove the stuff in the grave for the attack boost. And we have double Sonata, so very, very dead. 4,000 attack, by the way. Alright. This was a Lunar Light player. I think it's raining outside. Hope you guys can't hear that on the mic. This mic is a little sensitive. Alright. We know instantly it's a Lunar Light player. Passing turn 1, that is sus as fuck. But sadly, our deck has no way to play around Lunar Light. We could put our monsters in defense, but we have to attack him at some point, so... I'm just like, fuck it, we'll just summon a fusion monster and just call it a day. We could not summon a fusion monster, so we at least can't use the Lunar Light spell to get things out of the deck, since that requires an extra monster on board. But I don't know, at this point I just don't really care. We're just ooga boogering, no brain put into this. He's gonna summon Dancer, so we can't target his card. Didn't go for any OTK combos. Maestra, when he swings in, he's already reduced it to 0. We're going to banish the annoying stuff from grave, so he can't special summon it or use the targeting negation or whatever. And also give us an attack boost so our monster doesn't completely die. So we're just getting completely obliterated. Destiny draw. Search for the, yeah, we haven't really got much yet. We're trying to get a hold of 2 Sonatas so we can beat over this. Because even if we summon our, another Maestra right now, it won't have enough attack, because it would only get to the 3k plus the 500 from our 1 Sonata, so we need 2 of them. Thankfully we just draw into it. Feels good, man. Also, at this point, because I hadn't added to the extra deck yet, we didn't have the level 3 Shark, if you're wondering why I didn't go for any Shark OTKs here. Although he probably had a Creeper or something anyway, so we weren't really interested in doing that. Alright, now we have the perfect setup. You can summon our Maestra, banish his stuff from grave, make it over 3k, 4k. In hindsight, this was a bit of a misplay. I kept these in defense because I was worried it was Sphere Karibo, then he just beat over he would Sphere Karibo this, then we have these 2 monsters in attack, and we just die from battle damage. In hindsight, this is probably pretty bad, considering like if he turned this to defense anyway, we'd probably just lose from that point. So I should have expected another Temperance, since we knew he was already running Temperance, and just put these in attack, but it didn't matter. Luckily he didn't draw anything, so... easy win. Despite the misplays. Alright. No, this was not a harpy game. This was a man trying to debate his trimids. 14 game win streak, by the way. Imagine being on a 14 game win streak then losing to a fucking Melodious player. That would hurt. Alright, it's MST's 1 back row card, which by the way was a Trimid Pulse, which is something Melodious can kind of counter, since it banishes their resources they need. Just kind of an interesting thing to keep in mind. Didn't matter at all this game though. Because we're just gonna summon big ass shoebox with double double attack buffs on board. And he was just dead. That was it. Very quick replay. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the replays. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of Melodious and what you're hoping he's going to get from the new support. Thank you guys for watching, laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.